Hello, welcome everyone to the second stream in a row. On a roll here. Welcome everyone in the chat. The Crazy Ed, Light, NRC, welcome all. I'm super happy to hear that I was able to inspire you to work on a game. That's awesome. I love to hear that. Feel like you have something to look forward to in the game industry after setting down and truly figuring out what I wanted to do. Awesome. Yeah, keep at it, work hard, and I wish you all the best. Hello, Arkidos? Elvide. I have to say your game is looking absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Seamer, hi. Welcome. Welcome back, Hot Chocolate. Good to see you here again. The Axe says hi. Welcome, welcome. Arc is fine. Cool. All right, I'll remember that. So, what am I making this stream? Well, I'm probably going to do some gun affixes this stream because what we covered yesterday was the making of a player passive, the Phantom Gun, and the new Bone Gun, right? So, I want to do probably some affixes in the backlog here, which I will show the backlog in a little bit, but I do want to go over... sorry, I gotta get my windows in order here. I was unprepared, apparently. So I want to get some development done on some affixes. But first, I'm going to show you all what the current state of the game is. And for people that aren't aware of what's going on with the game, I'll go over it again real quick. So, Gun Game, Gun Game, if I can speak. Gun Game is a roguelite where you combine different weapon parts to create mayhem, essentially. And you can collect game-changing passive abilities. It's wave-based, so you have a timer, and enemies spawn during that time, and you get rewarded with gold the more enemies that you kill. You can choose your passives, so this is my passive screen right here. I'm going to choose clear nearby bullets on dash. And then I get presented with a gun part reward. So each weapon is composed of 3 gun parts. Those parts are the magazine, the receiver, and the barrel. And so you can see here I've got a banana receiver, and we can do all kinds of goofy weapons with this formula. So we got this banana receiver whose bullets track to the nearest enemy, the enemy nearest to the crosshair. And so this orange text here is what I call an affix, and it is something special. It's basically a passive that goes on the gun. So there are passives that get attached to the player, and then there are passives that get attached to the gun. And so you can combine this in any which way. You can see as I select my guns here, the banana receiver gets placed in there. And let's go ahead and slap this on the bone gun. I can also re-roll if I want to or choose gold, but I'm going to equip this one. And so now I've got a banana bone gun. And you can see that the bone bullets are tracking to the enemies. So I can aim up here and it's just going to curve. Oh, I got a crash. Look at that. I haven't seen a crash in a while. So yeah, so that's the sort of the formula behind the game. Are those bullets in the UI placed for each gun, or are they generated in the script? So I'm not sure what you're asking. So the bullets in the UI, like the bullet points, placed for each gun, or are they generated in the script? If you're talking about like the affix text, those are generated in text. Or sorry, they're generated in the UI in real time. I can actually show you, so let's see. Look interesting, thank you. Thank you, Herrick. Let's see. So here, this is the assembled gun stats UI. This is where all of the stat labels and icons go. And then, oh, the ammo indicator at the bottom. Okay, I'll go over this real quick and then I'll talk about the ammo indicator. So, so these are the stat labels, and then we have an affix container which shows the affixes, and then there's a resource preloader here which contains a stat label and an affix label. If I go into the affix label, you can see that it's just basically a rich text label. Hello, this is an affix. So that's basically how that works. It's generated on script. The bullet UI at the bottom is, so the individual bullets are their own scenes, but I generate them or place them in code using a script. The tricky thing about this ammo bar, if I'm looking at it, is that I wanted to have them overlap each other, which means that you need to set in the HBox container, which I'm using, you need to set a separation that's in the negatives, right? So if I have -3 set here, if I do -7, you can see that they overlap even more, right? So I have to basically decide what that separation is supposed to be in code based on how many bullets there are total. So that's how that works. You change the waves from kills to just timed, right? Correct, yeah. So the way the waves work now is that you've got a timer. As many enemies as you can kill will spawn during that timer. So if you can kill faster, then you get more enemies, which means you get more loot. Or you could alternatively just spend your time dodging the entire time, wait for the timer to run out, and then just kill the remaining enemies. So however you want to play it. How did you figure out the spacing? It's just a simple, not simple, but it's a little bit of math. So basically I said, I know the width of each of these bullets, and I know the width of the container box, which is 70 pixels. And so basically it's just a matter of like figuring out what spacing is going to create a row of bullets that is less than or equal to 70 pixels wide. So that's basically how the logic goes. Hello, Volver. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Glad you can make it. My idea would be to make the waves kill-based again and put a timer on the gold so they either don't drop gold or after a set amount of time, or they... I was thinking about doing that, but the problem with not making it time-based, and I didn't want to do time-based because a lot of other games in the genre do time-based, but the problem is that the gold really doesn't serve a purpose if you don't have more opportunities to get it, right? So basically, I have gold that randomly drops from enemies, but if it's a fixed amount of enemies every single wave, then the average gold that you earn in any playthrough is going to be the same. But if you focus on being able to kill as many enemies as possible and increasing the amount of enemies that you kill in a wave, then you also increase the amount of gold that you earn. So that's the problem with that. But I still do want to make the gold disappear after a short amount of time. I just, it doesn't work if you have a fixed number of enemies in the wave. Love the idea of the game and the art, also how smooth it feels. Thank you so much, Zeto. Yeah, I appreciate that. Do I keep these streams on my channel? Yeah, if you go to my channel, there's a live streams playlist. All of the live streams that I've done are there, so feel free to watch them when you can. Was a lot of this inspired by Brotato? Yeah, so there's a couple of inspirations for this game. One is Enter the Gungeon. The initial iteration of this game was more like Enter the Gungeon than it is now. Brotato was one. I'm getting inspiration from Vampire Survivors. Tiny Rogues is another huge inspiration. So I'm kind of taking what I think are the best ideas for this game from all of those games. And so you're definitely going to see a lot of influences from those games. I'm basically just borrowing / stealing ideas and putting them in my own in my own game. But that's how creative work goes a lot of times. It'll still give players the incentive to engage with the enemies. Yeah. Hello, smiley face. Can you show me how to make the pixelation in game like yours? It's very simple. So if you're using Godel, go to your project settings, go to display. I'm using 640 by 360 for the width and the height. So that's a very small canvas. And then you set the stretch mode to viewport. Pixelation achieved. That's all you have to do. Love Enter the Gungeon. Are you still doing room generation thing? No, I'm not doing that. I decided that it would be a lot easier to make this game if I just had an arena that's just a static arena that the player fights in. And then I can just focus on making all the wacky combinations that I want to make, instead of trying to balance, like, how does the player loot things in the dungeon and, like, enemy placements. I feel like this formula that I'm doing right now is just a much better fit for the kind of game that I wanted to make, so. Would you make the UI bullets have a different sprite depending on each gun? I do have that written down, yes. Yep. Add a new wave type where you spawn a set amount of enemies, and if you kill them in X amount of time, you'll get some reward. If not, you'll just move. Kind of like a challenge room. I do like that. That's a good idea. Yeah, varying up what types of waves you get, or perhaps even giving the player the option to engage in a challenge wave that is a lot harder, but also has a lot more rewards. That's a good, yeah, I'm gonna do that. So let me show you all the board again. So this is all of my tasks that I have written down. I'm gonna write down that idea. So allow player to choose a challenge wave. So we'll just put that in the list there. Give the player to 2 to 3 wave to type from, yeah. Introduce new wave types in addition to challenge wave. So this is my ideation column. These are things that I haven't decided on yet, but that I want to do more thinking about. You can see, let's go over some of the guns that I have written down just for fun. So we've got a bubble gun, a worm gun. Oh, worm gun's on here twice. A saw gun, a rat gun, a sniper, a crossbow. We've already got the banana gun. I think I'm going to add the bone gun just for fun, to say I did it. Cool. You should hire you. I don't have enough money to hire somebody. I'm sorry. Make a gun that shoots squids. That's an interesting idea. I would be maybe a slight modification on that, like a tentacle gun, where instead of shooting projectiles, tentacles just kind of come out of it and slap enemies. That might be kind of cool. But before we get into the stream, I want to see if I can figure out why this is crashing. So I experienced a crash here, and I don't exactly understand the conditions that led to the crash. So I'm just going to play the game for a bit. We could talk about the game a little bit more, and hopefully I can encounter the crash yet again. Actually, you know what? I'll also show everyone how the final phantom gun ended up being. That's not right. So I'm going to add the phantom gun passive to the player, and when I spawn... So here's the phantom gun. He's still got his pathfinding enabled, but I smoothed out the pathfinding, and what I did for the phantom gun to balance it is... So, just a quick overview on the phantom gun. The phantom gun essentially mirrors your lowest damage gun and shoots for you. So it's just like a little nice little guy over here who's shooting for you. But what I did to balance it is your phantom gun doesn't get any of the affixes of your gun. Oh, I can do another one? 2 phantom guns, let's go! So the phantom gun doesn't get any of the passives of your gun, and also has 50% of the damage and 50% of the fire rate. of your gun. So I felt like that was a nice sort of balancing. You get a little bit of extra damage from it, a little companion gun, but it certainly can't carry you. You still have to put in your own work. So I thought that was a good aspect. Wow, this is nuts. Hello. I don't know how to pronounce your name. It's got symbols in it, but welcome. I made a gun for my game that you could maybe get some inspiration from. You shoot a large, slow-moving bullet, and when it hits the wall, it shoots a ray in the opposite direction of the wall. That's very interesting. Did I change it after the stream ended? I changed it this morning. So, I was too tired to continue working on it last night, so I spent time this morning fixing it up. I think it's in a good spot. And you won't be able to get two of them in the game usually. It just happens that I hard-coded one to the player, so to speak, and then the real version popped up in the passive reward screen, so. But I'm not experiencing this error anymore, this crash that happened. Phillips. Okay, I'll call you Phillips. Hopefully I remember that. How about an energy gun that shoots balls of energy that get bigger and more damaging over time? Yeah? Yeah? Energy gun? Let's go ahead and add it. I like it. So I'm not really engaging with the game mechanics as I should be. I'm trying to recreate this crash, which I need to see. I could probably just sort of like try to figure it out, but I don't really like to do that unless I have a concrete example of it crashing. Because then you never know if it's fixed. We'll just let the phantom guns go and do their thing. I'm also in God mode right now, so I'm not dying. Gun game looks so juicy. Thank you. Thank you. Menatoin? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you. Oh, did it crash? Okay. So that's a good sign. I wasn't even shooting and it crashed, so perhaps we can say that it was caused by the phantom gun. Is there like a stack trace here? So let's see. It started with bullet component 117, checking the raycast collision, then going into the other area. Raycast collider is other area, so it's going into hitbox component. Okay. Hurtbox component line 84, other area.owner is bullet component. So it thinks that this other area so for some reason so the way that I'm handling the bullets is very, very confusing. Because I'm doing two different types of checking. I'm doing a raycast check and an area 2D check. But the thing with the raycast check is that I want it to behave exactly like an area collision. So I'm like manually emitting these area entered signals for that reason. But I think that that's getting me up in some situations that aren't ideal. But what I'm doing is I'm emitting the hitbox component. I think the hitbox component must be... So this other area that's entering here must be invalid because it's being freed. So let me look at the bullet component here. So the thing about the bullet component is that when they die, they have some of their areas removed. So I think what might be happening is that this handle node death is called, which is freeing that area. And then for some reason, when it does the raycast check again, like this hitbox component must be, you know what? I think I can change it here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's what's happening. So I'm freeing the hitbox component, but it's still possible for a raycast collision to happen. So what happens is that this hitbox component here, I'll make this a little bit bigger. This hitbox component here is technically not null. It still has a reference to a Godot object, but that has been freed. So it's not null, but it's also not valid. So what I need to do here instead is I need to say is instance valid hitbox component. Now, as to why the raycast is still happening after the area gets freed, I'm not so sure. Handle node death. So we'll figure that out. So handle node death, it's tweeting all that stuff. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Uh-oh, we got spammers in the chat. Oh boy. Oh. Anyway. Sorry, I gotta catch up in the chat here. Can't get 2 as impossible or just unlikely. It's impossible to get 2. Let's see. I struggle to get enemy ideas for some reason. How do you overcome creative blocks? I do that. I do struggle with that too. Most of the time, well, sometimes I'll just start drawing something and see like what inspires me there. But oftentimes I'll just think about like what would be kind of a weird enemy. How about like a rat person or like a maggot? You know, it can be kind of like a mundane thing. Like just think about like a creature. Here's one, a grasshopper, right? So make like a grasshopper something, combine it with something else. Like, well, how about a grasshopper knight? So like, what does a grasshopper in shining armor look like? You know, just think of something mundane and then think of another thing that you add to it that would make it kind of weird. And that kind of works. Race condition bugs are the best bugs. Yep. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Smacks. Yeah, I don't know why my bots, or why my bots. Why do I have bots? Oh, is this? Hold on. 7RLZ7 is getting banned. Why is that happening? How do I unban you? Your message got clipped. Seven RLZ7, are you still here? Did I click on the wrong thing? Smack says, as for the squid gun that was mentioned, how about a slow shooting gun that shoots octopi? They fly a certain range and attach to walls. Once they stop, they stay a while and grab enemies. That would be cool. Enemies in my game are dinosaur insect hybrids. There you go, that's cool. Do I know the fluffy potato? I don't. Did I accidentally ban 7RLZ7? I hope I didn't. I don't know how to fix that. What's up, Matthias? Welcome to the stream. Okay, so back to this. So I think what's happening here is, I don't know whether it was from an enemy or a player, but handle node death. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Handle travel death. Okay, so here's the problem. I think it's coming from an enemy. So when an enemy, so the way that it works is when an enemy dies, all of the bullets that enemy fired get cleared so that you don't get hit by bullets of an enemy that already died. And that's just like a nice feature. I just felt like that improved the player experience. And so what's happening is I'm calling handle travel death when that happens, and I'm passing true, which is to kill the collisions. So in this handle travel death, what happens is it goes through all the node 2Ds, it handles them. It goes through all the node 2D children, I should say. If it's a particle, it turns the emitting off. If it's an area 2D, it Q frees the area. If it's a collision shape, it Q frees the collision shape. But I think the problem here is that, so when this is true, it will clear the collision shapes and the hurtbox, or the hitbox area rather. But then it's still doing a raycast collision every frame. And so I think what I need to do... I think this fix will honestly fix it because the hitbox component could be freed. But I'm wondering if that's going to be a problem. Because previously, I reworked it this morning. Previously, if it was set to dying, it just would not even check any of this. But that was a little bit awkward for the player because there's a slight fade out time that the bullets have where they shrink over a period of 1/5 of a second. And it was awkward as a player to like look like I hit an enemy while the bullet was in that shrinking period, but it didn't register the hit. And so I changed the code to be able to register the hit while it's shrinking. But that introduced some other problems here. So I think just doing this is fine. I'm just gonna say if is instance valid hitbox component, oops, like this. And I think that should do it. Alternatively, I could see if, well, wait a minute. Yeah, I think that's fine. Maybe it's the bot you reported. Why don't you do Unity? I am not familiar at all with Unity, and I think Godot is the best 2D engine out there. Godot is better, plus no boot splash screen, yeah. After 6 years of Unity experience and 1.5 of Godot, I can say Godot is better. Yeah, I don't have the Unity experience, but I think so. It's very easy to use. It's a dedicated 2D engine, which is nice. But Unity is definitely, I mean, obviously capable, so... So I think that this is going to fix it, but I'm worried that there's something else that I'm not thinking of. But I'm pretty sure that's the issue. So the hitbox component could be potentially freed. The collision shape could be potentially freed. So let me see. I think that's fine. I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I'm okay. Now, all right, let's go ahead and see if it crashes again. Actually, let's make this a little bit faster. This is going to be fun. Watch. I'm just going to duplicate the phantom gun a bunch of times. Let's go. So we'll just let this run for a little bit and see. Hopefully it's fixed. Actually, you know what I can do is I can... Oh, wait. Yeah. I'm just going to print... Caught the error. And we'll watch the console and see if that worked. Could also step through the code, but stepping through the code is for professionals. And I am but a simpleton. Yeah, so there we go. Caught the error. Wow, that happened quite quickly, actually. How is that on-gun delete? Really? That happened really quick. I'm gonna just test and make sure that this was actually... Because it wasn't that reproducible. It wasn't that reproducible when I was testing it earlier, but let's try again. No! Okay, did I catch him? Gosh, these spams. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I did fix the error, so that was exactly the issue. So we get caught the error printed right here. the error happened. And so, yeah, I guess that was the problem. Cool. All right, well, we're going to call that one fixed then. Fix crash in bullet component. Okay, now we can actually start working on some things. Don't forget an empty Godot project is like a few megabytes. Yeah, I don't really care that much about the project size. That was never a persuasive argument for me because I've got, you know, like terabytes of storage. But I can see how it would be concerning for some people, especially on like laptops with small amount of storage space. Wonder what your game looks like without viewport. Doesn't look great, at least not in my opinion. Game dev is your dream, but not as a career, but as your hobby. Yeah, same. I mean, I would love to make a career out of it, but only if I'm selling my own games. I would never work as just an employee for a game studio. Unity scriptable objects are great. I think about the phantom gun simply splitting your damage, so with one phantom it's half damage, with two phantoms it's 1/3 damage. Yeah, that could be a thing. The bot, it's back. I don't see the bot. Is it getting banned? It's showing up as getting banned, so I don't know why is this just a problem with YouTube live streaming? That's very, very concerning, but we're gonna just let me know if it comes back. I don't know. I tried banning and it's not doing anything, so just don't click any links from any strange accounts. How's that? Okay, let's actually work on some affixes now. Hello, Sag Leaf. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Cool. All right, so part all these bot lines individually, so if you know the source accounts. Cool. All right. Cool. All right, so which affix should we do? So we've got a couple of status effects that I could implement. Bleed, fire, freeze, blight is one I have. Shocked. We've got twin gun statuses, which was I'm not gonna do that one. I need to think about that one some more. We got apply charm to enemy. Probably won't do that one either because that's gonna be a little bit more thinking as well. Deal increased damage the longer the player stays still. That could be one. But why don't we do a different status effect? I've got a couple of player passives that kind of rely on status effects being a thing. So, hey Fibian, popping in to say that watching your videos really inspiring. Thanks for being around. Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. What program is that? This is Obsidian MD, the note-taking app Obsidian MD with the Obsidian Kanban community plugin. So let's, maybe we'll do a bleed effect here. So we'll add bleed as an affix and as a status, and I can show you how I implement status effects and how I implement affixes as well. So what we're going to do is we're basically just going to copy how the poison works. So poison status. So the script in here extends from base status. And there's also what's called a status receiver component. So each status is a node. And there's a status receiver component that I can put on any object that I want to be able to receive statuses, hence the name. And so essentially what happens is I call apply status. It checks if that status already exists under the status receiver. If it does, it just applies an additional stack and does any refreshing that it's going to do. Otherwise, it creates a new node of that status effect and then puts it into the node. So that's basically that. So we can actually go ahead and look at where this is being used already. And we've got the poison affix here. And you can see that what's happening here is that when the bullet collides with an entity, which is what this event is, we're going to grab the entity's status receiver. If that status receiver exists, then we apply the poison status with a reference to the scene that we're going to apply. and then the gun stats that go along with that. And why do we need the gun stats? Good question. I don't know why we need the gun stats. Perhaps I just passed that in case I needed it. Oh, I see. Because, so the poison is actually based on the gun damage. So I believe that... Yeah, so basically, when you get 10 stacks of poison, then every time it ticks, it does damage equivalent to the damage of your gun. So it's like, if you put 10 stacks of poison on something, it's like it hits... Wow, I can't talk. If you put 10 stacks of poison on an enemy, it's like it's getting hit by your gun every half a second. And if you only have one stack, then it's 10% of that damage, 2 stacks, 20%, so on and so forth. And then I'm planning to do affixes or passives that allow you to increase that stack count. So instead of 10 stacks, you can do 20 stacks. And then 20 stacks is 2 times your damage per half a second. So that's how we're going to do it. And yeah. I'm considering starting devlogs of my own. Do you have any tips for gaining a following? Honestly, so what I've learned is that the YouTube algorithm is not luck-based. If you drive up engagement, if you drive up watch time, if you make a good title, a good thumbnail, you will get views. Now you're not going to go viral or anything. And I don't know why some of my videos do better than others, but if you want to get a consistent like baseline level of views, you just got to be consistent with your content. You do have to do a little bit of experimentation as well. Like if something's not working, like switch it up, try a different title, different thumbnail, different video format. And then once you find something that works, try not to deviate from that too much. And that's sort of my tip. You'll notice how all my videos have a very sort of similar vibe and feel to them, but I do slight variations just to try things out and see what you all like. So that's my advice. I'm also I don't have that much of a following, so take my advice with a grain of salt, I would say. I use Obsidian too, never saw that listing thing. Yeah, Obsidian Kanban is great. Hey, that's how I handle dots in my game. Great minds think alike. Yeah, absolutely. Separated them into simple and complex dots. Simple dots just get passed into an enemy array, and complex dots get a node of their own that get attached to the enemy hit. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's very... The thing about Godot's node-based system is it's very easy to just make everything like a node, because then you're in the scene tree, you can listen to events, like signals and all that stuff, and the nice thing about applying it as a node is that when the enemy gets freed, all of the statuses get freed too, so you don't have to worry about like keeping track, oh, is this enemy still alive? Does it still have these statuses? It's all handled for you, right? If the enemy gets removed from the tree for whatever reason, the statuses go with it, and then if you put them back in the tree, the statuses will be there. It's just a really intuitive way, I think, of working with it. All right, let's do blood. So, all right, let's do blood now. Blood status. Now I got to figure out where in the world this actually is supposed to go. Show in file system. Okay, component status. All right, that's fine. So let's go to component status. I should probably call it bleed status, huh? Instead of blood status. All right, so I have a particles 2D, which is the effect, and we'll design a particle, and the tick timer as well. I want to be careful not to make any of the statuses too similar to each other. So I'm going to try not to use a tick status for the bleed. So if you guys have ideas of what bleed could actually do, let me know. But let's design the particle system. Actually, particles are one of my favorite things to do. New particles material. We have an animation material that I saved. Canvas material, particles, animation. So put that in there. And the reason I do that is because then I can grab the textures, put my particles in there, and then I can set up the animation to have a random offset. And so now it's picking a random image from that sort of texture sprite sheet, which is here. And then what can I do? So this is a bleed. So probably we want to do something like have it like blood splurting or something. So if we do a direction of -1 in the Y, give it an initial velocity of, let's say, like 100. Let's turn down the... Or we could turn up the spread, I think. Let's turn up the explosiveness. And we can turn up the amount as well. Let's turn up the gravity. Oops. I'm turning up the velocity and the velocity random as well. Obviously the scale is a little bit big, so let's turn the scale down. I like to also always make a scale texture, a curve texture that scales it up from 0. Just seems to be nicer that way. So that's kind of what we're going with right now, and I think I already have like a blood color ramp, so let's go ahead and do that. So where is my color here? Color initial ramp. There's our blood colors. Perfect. You can probably turn down the amount a little bit. There we go. So that's kind of like our blood splurt effect, and I'll probably just do, we're gonna change the emission shape here to a sphere. There we go. I think that's respectable. Let's see. Sag Leaf says, bleed making enemies take more damage or have lowered stats in some way. Might be interesting, that's just an idea. Yeah, I was kind of thinking making enemies take more damage while they're bleeding. I think that makes sense. You know, could slow them down, but I was also thinking, like, we gotta leave room for other statuses, right? So, like, chill could slow them down, obviously. But, so we got our bleed status now, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to attach what's it called? What is this thing called? A script. We're gonna attach a script to it. And I'm more or less just gonna copy the poison status. So this has to extend base status. Excellent. So we have to handle the stack count as well. So how am I doing it in here? So I have max stacks, so we'll just copy that as well. So I need to handle dying as well. So I gotta have a duration timer. At some point, once these statuses start to take shape, I might want to genericize some of this logic. Like, I can have a tick status or a timed status or something like that. Actually, I think most statuses will either be timed or tick based. So maybe we could spend some time this stream refactoring that, but I only have 2 statuses, so it's like, and both of them are different. So once I have a status that basically mimics the same logic, then I'll refactor probably. Go the Elden Ring route with the bleed amount increasing until it takes a huge amount of damage. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Maybe the opposite, and will decrease their health over time, but increase some stats, like they're trying to save their life. That's an interesting idea, too. How long do I plan on streaming? I don't know, we'll see. Maybe another hour and a half or 2 hours, something like that. Yesterday was a long stream. That was 3.5 hours. But I think might be slightly shorter today. But we'll see how it goes, you know. I don't have a set time. So the poison status actually has a number of ticks that is calculated, and then it counts down from that. But this one is just going to have a straight up timer, and the timer is going to get refreshed when a new stack of blood is added. So private timer. Okay, public override void ready. Timer.connect. Timeout. This name of on timer timeout. Private void on timer timeout. Oops. Okay, so when we're doing the timer timeout, we need to set is dying is equal to true. And what else are we going to do? Yeah, we want to set the emitting status of the particles 2D to off. Private particles 2D. So we'll set that emitting to false. What else do we need to copy over from the poison status? Okay, and we basically just free it after a certain amount of time. So we'll copy that as well. All right. So we need to do what? Override the apply method. Is there a reason why this is not abstract? We'll make it abstract because then that means I am required to override it, I believe. Yeah. Okay, so we got to override our apply method. And so what are we going to do with this? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to say current stacks equals mathf dot min of max stacks. Well, we'll do current stacks plus 1 and max stacks. So that will clamp it. But we also need to say timer.start, which I believe restarts the timer. Also resets the remaining time to wait time. Yeah, cool. So that will restart the timer. The other thing that I want to do is actually, let me look at the status receiver component. Okay, so the status receiver component does call apply when the status is first added, which makes sense. So what am I going to do? So I'm going to set the timer to, maybe we'll put the bleed on for like 2 seconds and we'll make it a one shot. Ah, yes, OBS statistics, yeah. Couldn't even beat the boss that you implemented. Destroyed by your own creation. Sad. So that's basically it for the status. What we can do, well, let's create the affix that applies the status. So how do we do that? So we've got our data somewhere. Oh, that's scenes. Whoops, I'm in the wrong directory. So data affix. So we've got our affix registry, which is just a list of all the affixes. And then we've got all of our affixes here. This is the base class for the affixes. So it basically just has a bunch of virtual functions that can be overridden. And then depending on what's overridden, that's what happens, right? So I'll just create a new one. We'll create a new C# class called bleed affix. Game.data.affix. The bleed affix extends the gun part affix. And what we're going to do is public override void on entity collision. So this is the one we're going to override. This happens on entity collision, obviously. And we also need to implement get description. So apply occurrences, stacks of bleed on hit. Bleed increases damage enemies take. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room to actually show all this text on the UI, but we'll see. Okay, and then I'm just going to look at the poison affix here. And I'm just going to go ahead and lift this. Just like that. Change it to bleed status. We have to use game.component. I could probably genericize this as well, but whatever, copy paste works for now. And that's basically our affix. Now we got to add it to the affix registry. And check this out. Let's sort this so it's in alphabetical order. Boom. All right. Anyway, so we've got our bleed affix in place now, and then I believe there's one other thing that I need to do, or not. Is there something I need to do? There's like an affix loot table somewhere. Oh, you know what? I think randomizer. So this is my randomizer component. Right, okay. So this is where it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got 6 there. Cool. I need to figure out a better way to do this, but basically this gun part randomizer class, it is responsible for taking in a gun part and just applying a bunch of randomization to it. It's not that complicated. It's basically just using normal distributions to assign stats. And then it's also, it has a loot table that picks the affixes. So I'm just going to copy that line, bleed affix, and that's it. And they all have the same weight. I don't know why I'm using 10 everywhere. We'll just set it to 1. It's effectively the same. Oh, wait, because there's 70 there. Okay, well, we'll keep it. All right, I think that's it. So now what I can do is I can actually just go into, for instance, my bone receiver, and I can go ahead and add that affix if I want. So we'll just add bleed. I think that's basically what I'm doing for the Moss magazine. Yeah, it adds poison. The Moss magazine adds poison. I'm not going to keep the bleed on the bone receiver. We'll probably make a different gun that has built-in blood status, but this will be good for now. Oh, I still have all these Franken weapons. Let's go to my player real quick and just remove all those. All right, let's see if the bleed status works. It crashed. Excellent. So it didn't like my status scene path. Show in file system. Component bleed status. Why didn't it like that? Scenes component status bleed status.tscn. Oh, because I'm instancing it as a poison status when this is a bleed status. Okay. Whoops. All right, the enemy's bleeding. And he bleeds for 2 seconds. And it looks like the timer's also being reset when he gets hit. Perfect. The one thing that I need to do is I need to turn off local coords. So now the blood kind of trails behind them as they move, which is perfect. Now, unfortunately, I think the blood is going to be a little bit hard to see when enemies are exploding everywhere. I will probably introduce icons for enemies with status effects at some point, but we won't worry about that yet. Cool. So now we actually need to make it so that when a collision happens, the bullet damage is based on the number of blood stacks currently on the enemy. And that needs to happen for everything, right? So that's kind of a different paradigm. Typically, what happens in the game is that I look at the affixes for a gun, and then I say, okay, what transformations do I need to apply to the stats in order to get the desired outcome? But this paradigm is a little bit different, right? Because now I have a status that needs to apply to all bullets and all guns, regardless of what they are and regardless of where they're coming from. So, basically, it's saying, hey, I'm an enemy, I need to take damage from all sources, right? How am I going to go about doing that in a clean manner? How am I going to go about doing that in a clean manner? Well, let's take a look at where our damage... Well, let me just commit this first. That effect feels a bit too similar to the spawn effect. Yeah, the spawn effect is blood. I could change the spawn effect at some point, though, if it's... in order to do the differentiation better. So I'm just going to commit that real quick. I like to make a bunch of tiny commits as I get chunks of work done. Makes the history more granular, makes it easier to revert, and also gives me peace of mind. Anyway, so how am I going to do this in a clean way? So what we have, the thing that's responsible for actually keeping track of the damage is the health component. So let's open up the health component. And in here, you can see that there's this damage function, which is called by the hurtbox component when a bullet collision happens. And so I could put... So basically I need to be able to say, okay, is there a status receiver component on this entity? If there is, I need to say, okay, does it have any bleed statuses? If there is a bleed status, I need to modify the amount of damage that's going into the health component damage. And so this has the potential to be really messy if I just kind of stick it anywhere. Obviously, I could do it in this hurtbox component, but do I want to do that? Perhaps the smarter thing to do is actually to put it in the status receiver component and sort of make it responsible for transforming any damage that's going to be done to the health, right? Version control, that's for nerds. I tried using Git, almost lost a week of work because I'm illiterate. Oh, wow. Yeah, revert commit is great. Get good, please. Yeah, for real. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Haven't seen you here before, I don't think. So, how am I going to do this? The other option is I could make another component that's responsible for transforming the health, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think the thing that I'm just mostly worried about is... where do I intercept the damage? So in here, so this is the health box, this is the health component being dealt damage. I could put some code in here that says like, hey, transform damage, right? I could say damage equals transform damage. And then that way I can pass it in and deal it like that. Another option is what I could do is I could listen to the health component for it being damaged because there's a health changed signal. And so I can see, okay, well, what was the damage that was done between the previous health and the current health? I could listen for that in the status receiver component and say, okay, that's the amount of damage that was dealt. I'm going to do some calculations and then apply damage again, right? So it's not just that I'm transforming the damage, it's that I'm responding to it by adding more after the fact. I think that approach would work. I'm just worried about, like, if down the line I need to make more complicated calculations about what kind of damage is being done. Like, I've got a bleed effect, but if the enemy's bleeding and chilled, then those two things work together in a specific way. And maybe it's, you know, it's not as easy as just multiplying the result of the damage that was done initially. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I have to think about this a little bit before I actually commit to something. And what I don't want to do is I don't really want to have the hurt box responsible for, like, checking the status receiver. So this is a bit tricky. It is a bit tricky. Is my real job related to development? Yes, I do front-end development. Well, I do every kind of development, but mostly front-end as my day job. You can't add bleeding enemies to a group at runtime, which is checked. It's not an issue of who is bleeding. It's an issue of where along the chain of damage do I check what bleeding stacks are there and multiply that or add that to the damage. So it's not about, like, I know who's bleeding because there's the here, I'll show you where the status receiver component is. So on the rat. So there's a status receiver component here. What it will look like in game when he has blood on him is that there will be a bleed status right here, right? And so it's very easy to say, oh, well, you know, and here's my health component right here, and here's my hurt box component. And so I have all the information that I need in context. It's just a question of, like, how does the status receiver component apply the damage transformation that needs to happen before that damage makes it into the health component. Because what happens is, I wish I could just zoom in here. I can't do it without restarting the editor, but... So what happens is the hurt box component receives the bullet hit, and you can see that it has a reference here to the health component. So it reaches directly out to the health component, which is up here, and applies the damage. But somewhere in that chain, I need to insert my transformations, right? I need to multiply the damage based on the amount of blood stacks. That's kind of the part that's tripping me up. And there's a multitude of ways to do it. It's just a question of what is the most appropriate way to do it for the long-term survivability of the project. So you understand the memes of back-end dev doing front-end and front-end dev doing back-end. Yeah, I mean, I like doing all of the front-end and back-end, though. Like, I do everything. I do infrastructure, I do server REST API development, I do front-end React development. I do all of it. I've even done Electron development. I built an Electron app out of our front-end for the company. It's all fun. I like it. It keeps the job fresh. But we are not here to do React development. We're here to make enemies bleed. I could just try something. I could just make something and refactor it later. That's probably the best way to go. My initial hunch is to put it in the status receiver component. In here. So have a method like... you know, public float, apply damage transformation. I don't know if that's the right terminology to use, but say float incoming damage, something like that. And then what I can do is for my base status here, so I've got public abstract void. I'll do a public virtual void, apply damage transformation. And for now, we're just going to say float incoming damage. I could see this becoming a lot more complicated, though, where this actually ends up being an object that has a bunch of context in it, so I can do more complex calculations. But yeah, we don't build things until we need them, right? So we're going to call apply damage transformation with some incoming damage. And what we're going to do is we have an existing statuses map here. And so what I can do is I can essentially iterate over all of these statuses and call that method, right? So I could say var statuses equals existing statuses dot values. Actually, I don't need to do that. I can just say for each var status in existing statuses dot values dot I probably want to filter this where x not x dot is dying, because if it's dying, then it's basically invalid. Now, ideally, if a status starts dying, I could just remove it from here immediately. So, for example, in the base status, or where's my bleed status here? Bleed status. So in my bleed status here, I'm saying is dying equals true, and then I'm freeing it. But perhaps what I should do instead is have a signal in here. I don't even know if I can put a signal on an abstract class. Public delegate void died. Something like that. And then what I can do in here instead, we'll do a little bit of refactoring. Emit signal name of died. And then we can get rid of this is dying there. And what can happen is in my status receiver component, when I'm adding the status, I can say base status dot connect name of base status dot died, this name of on status died. And let's create a private void on status died. And what we're going to get in here is base status, base status. And when that happens, wait a minute. Hello, Dr. Toucan Kamoon. I love that name. Welcome back to the stream. What am I working on today? Well, we're building out a bleed status, which is going to be similar to the poison status in that it's a status, but the bleed status, when applied, is going to increase the damage that an enemy takes from all sources. And so we're building out the code to support that right now. We've already got the blood status built out here. I'll go ahead and add it. Bleed status. Oh, that doesn't look good. There we go. So this is what the bleed status looks like. It will stack up to 10 times, and I think the math will be that when you've got 10 stacks of bleed on an enemy, it will take 100% extra damage. So basically twice the damage of your, of your gun. But alas, there is refactoring to do. So I think what I need to do is I need to say if has status, I'm just going to do a safety check here. If has status base status, then what we're going to do is we're going to say existing statuses dot remove. How does this work? Get existing status, try get value. Yeah, that works. Existing statuses dot remove, and we're going to remove the base status dot get type. So essentially what's happening is that we're connecting to the died signal on here, on died, and we need to pass in the status new Godot.collections.array base status as a binding. And so when the died status is emitted here, then what's going to happen is it's going to go into this method, take the base status, say, okay, is this still a valid status in the map? And we're going to remove it. Now, maybe I should do... because this is a little bit of an extra check here. So I wonder if I should just take this instead of trying to be fancy. And I'm just mapping it by type, so it's a dictionary of type to the status node. And then we got the status if is... do I want to do that? Yeah, we'll say if status... if it's not equal to null, then what we're going to do is we're going to remove that key from the dictionary. Perfect. And so now we don't need to worry about like this is dying at all, because we're guaranteed now that all of the existing statuses are currently valid. And so I actually don't need that anymore. So I'm going to get rid of this is dying. And my poison status, I need to make a slight tweak to this, which is to emit that signal in here. Name of died. Perfect. So I think we're in good shape now. Good morning. It's not morning, it's 5 p.m. in the evening. I'm just kidding. It's probably morning where you are. How you doing, Trublub? Welcome to the stream. Okay, so now that we've got that figured out, what I want to do is apply this damage transformation. So actually, I'm just gonna, let me test those refactors that I did real quick, just to make sure that we're all good. Just to make sure that the statuses still work as expected. I think it does, but it doesn't hurt to test. Oh, well, that guy died. That's not good. What? This is doing too much damage. Okay. We'll just give the bone gun the Moss magazine. It's 11:10 p.m. That's late. I have a lot of European viewers. I don't know why. I guess there's more interest about Godot in Europe. Okay. So I think the status is working just fine. Thank you very much. So with that tested, we'll go back to our little, what we're doing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all the existing statuses. We're going to call, so let's do this. Var accumulated damage equals 0f. We don't need the f, but yeah, we do because it's float. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say accumulated damage plus equals status dot apply. Is that right? Yeah. So apply damage in transformation incoming damage. And then what we're going to do is we're going to return the incoming damage plus the accumulated damage. And this needs to return a float, of course. Oh, I guess we need to define that method, huh? Perfect. It's 6 a.m. here. Woke up at 2 p.m. Haven't slept yet. Wow. 11 p.m. here too. Wow, you guys are like time travelers. Oh, you're a Unity dev, of course. Yeah, it's a good time to be on stream. Yeah, it seems like this is a good time. If it's good time for everyone. 10 p.m. Yeah, everyone is east of me, I guess, across whatever ocean that is. The Atlantic Ocean? I don't know. I'm on the East Coast, United States. Oh, American geography skills showing blatantly. All right, let's see. So what am I doing? I need to apply this damage transformation before the damage. So we've got our little mechanism by which we can increase the damage. Now it needs to be called from somewhere. I could put it in the hurt box component here. Alternatively, I could put it in the health component. So I could make like an export variable here for the status receiver path. The problem with doing it this way, though... No, not like that. The problem with doing it this way is that I have to make sure to remember to do all of this, to set all of this up when I'm creating a new enemy. So basically, I'm going to need to go to my rat, go to my health component, make sure to assign it, and then go to my rat king, go to my health component, make sure to assign it. And I can make that easier by doing something like making this a tool script and then, you know, writing a method, public override string, get configuration warning, and then I can say return something's wrong. And if I build it, see, something's wrong. I could do that just as a warning. Maybe I will, because I can't think of a better way to do this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say private status receiver component. And then in here, so I'm going to move this get configuration warning. In the ready method, I'm going to say my status receiver component is equal to this.get nullable node path status receiver component path. And then what I can do when I'm taking damage. No, see, this is, I don't know if I like this either. Man, I'm so torn. Part of me wants to keep this pure so that when I say deal this amount of damage, it does that amount of damage. You know, I don't want, part of me doesn't want any extra logic bleeding into here. So my only options are to put it into the health component or to put it into the hurt box component. What do I do? Is there another clever way that I can do this? I don't think so. I think basically my only option is to put it in the hurt box component and just call it a day. I don't like that. That's not ideal either, but I'm just going to have to deal with it, I think, until a better solution comes to me eventually. Oh, this is already a tool script. Well, look at that. Okay, so we'll just assign it in here right next to the health component. So it's getting the health component in the hurt box in the same way. And then in our get configuration warning, I'm just going to try like if status receiver component equals null, return name of status receiver component is not set. All right, let's see if that works. So I'm going to build. So we got this status receiver component is not set. Excellent. Cool, cool, cool. What does that mean? That means that I'm going to assign it right here. Okay, and it being set now, it doesn't update, but that's okay. I can close this and reopen. Oh, it still doesn't work. Why is that not working? Probably because this needs to be a tool script as well in order for it to pick up. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Everything's working. Using Godot Unity. Godot, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Godot does pretty well with C#, I think. I don't know. I haven't had many problems. Not many problems at all. So now that we've got that status receiver in there, what are we going to do? So in the hurtbox component, we're dealing the damage. So I'm going to create a new private method in here. Private void deal damage with transform. I don't know. Deal damage with trans... I don't think transform is the right word there, but we're going to go for it. So in here, I can call it in both of these places. I think that's right. Yep. Okay, and so the benefit of doing that here now is I can say damage, well, let's say var final damage is equal to status receiver component dot apply damage transformation. I can pass the damage in there, or I can just null coalesce to damage and then apply the final damage in here. Okay, and so to make sure that this is working, well, it's not going to work because we have to define this method in our bleed status now. So can I override public override void apply, nope, override float, apply damage transformation. Now we can actually do our math in here. So we're basically just going to increase it by a flat percent. So we're going to take percent damage increase is equal to, let's say, 0.1f. Maybe we should apply this. Private const float damage percent per stack 0.1f. Cool. So then we'll do damage percent per stack times our current stacks. So that's the percent that we're going to apply, and then we're going to return incoming damage times percent damage increase. Now, this is additive, remember, so in here we're adding it. So if this returns 0, it's just going to be no additional damage. Perfect. Okay, and I'm going to go to my rat king and assign this before I forget. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my maggot and assign that as well. Where am I doing? Status receiver component here. What are we working on? Yeah, we're fixing damage system. Basically, I'm adding a bleed status, and the bleed status increases the amount of damage that the entity takes based on the number of bleed stacks, and that is involving a little bit of a refactor to how I'm applying damage to enemies. But I think it's basically in place now, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to print something, gd.print applying percent damage increase times 100, applying that percent damage to entity. So we'll check that as our debug. And let's go. I believe my bone... still applying bleed. So that's good. I'm going to get rid of the poison just so that's easier to see. All right, let's try it. Is it going to work? Any bets? Any bets? Any bets? Oh, if I could hit the enemy. Okay. Applying 10% damage to entity. It appears to work. Okay. So now the question is... applying 10, 20%, 30%. So maybe it would be more helpful if I actually printed the final amount of damage. It appears to be working, though. I mean, it's changing the percent based on the number of stacks. And so let's go to our hurt box component. Bullet collisions are handled. Oh, I don't need that. So we've got our apply damage transform. So I think in here what I'll do is I'll say if final damage is not equal to damage, and I know they're floating point numbers, so maybe this isn't going to be accurate, but what I'm going to do is just gd.print applied final damage. Actually, I've got a cool utility. Let me just show you. Logger.debug. Wait a minute. Applied final damage when base damage was damage. So the cool thing about that is I actually have a log file here that gets overwritten. And so I can just start this up, shoot a couple enemies, and then look for that log instead of looking at the tiny little console. Okay. So what do we got here? So we got applied 3.3 when base damage was 3, 3.6 when base damage was 3, 3.9 when base damage was 3. So it's looking good. I think you bet correctly, Trublub. So it looks like I should probably put the number of stacks in there too, but I think I'm fairly confident that it's working. The thing that we could do to make sure it's really working, we could do something really, this is one of the best parts about game development, is I can go into my bleed status and I can say my damage percent per stack is 1,000 or 100,000 or whatever that is. And so if I hit the enemy a second time, it should do a bajillion damage, approximately. There you go. So there's your proof that it's working. It's like an instant kill. That's so ridiculous. So they take increased damage from all sources too. So I can hit him with the bleed and then hit him with the shotgun. And that does a different amount of damage. Awesome. Every new mechanic we want to have create a whole new system or build off of already built one. Yep. Yep. You gotta, and that's the thing, you gotta make sure that you're doing things in a smart way. This is how, you know, a complex game like this can get very out of hand if you're not careful about how you're designing everything. So I think that's basically done. The last thing that I want to check... The last thing that I want to check is what? I want to add... Where is it? Randomizer. Yeah, I just want to make sure that this appears in the loot tables specifically, so... We'll do that. I also need to remove bleed from the bone receiver here. Okay, cool, let's go. So let's get through this wave and see if the gun parts that we get shown have the bleed affix on them. Apply 2 stacks of bleed on hit. Bleed increases the damage enemies take. Now here's a question. Is it actually going to apply 2 stacks? Did I handle that? Oh yes, yeah, it will work. Because this will run twice in here. Because there's 2 affixes, so all good. Cool. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that log that I wrote wherever it was. Or did I already remove it? No. Let's get rid of that. Cool. All right, so this got put on the moss barrel, so let's go ahead and see if that works. This gun is so inaccurate. But yeah, it appears to be working fairly well. So that's the bleed status. Yeah, so you can see it gets up to adding 5 damage when the base damage is 3, so it's very obviously working. All right, very cool. So that is the bleed status. I'm going to call that officially done. I am going to put this back down, though, to 10. 10. There we go. Okay, some cleanup here. What's up, Shadow? Welcome. Are you going to control on-hit affixes on high fire rate weapons? What do you mean by that? The way that it works right now is that on-hit affixes will always apply on-hit, but there is a cap. So you're not going to be able to apply, you know, a bajillion stacks of bleed. It caps at 10. So you can apply 10 stacks very slowly or very quickly, but the most you'll ever get is 10. I shouldn't say ever, because there will be ways in the game to increase that cap, but there will always be a cap, right? So you're not going to be able to put 1,000 stacks of bleed on an enemy really quick, if that answers your question. Okay, so I am going to go take a quick bathroom break and grab some more water, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes, so don't go anywhere, and enjoy some lo-fi girl tunes for a few minutes while I'm away. All right, I'm back. Welcome back, Light. How did you decide to do the bleed? Yeah, so basically what happened is that in the hurt box component, we've got a reference to the status receiver component, and the status receiver component has a method called apply damage transformation that will go through and call apply damage transformation on all of the individual statuses, add up that accumulated damage, and then apply that to the health component. Basically, that's it. I don't like this. The hurt box component is fulfilling too many roles now. It's fulfilling the role of handling bullet collisions, applying damage, calculating the damage. You could argue that maybe that all works together, that all fits within sort of the responsibility of the hurt box component, but I don't want it to become so bloated where I have to, like, it's doing all these different things. But there was no better alternative, so I will stop whining about it. Okay, so let's take a look at the board and decide what else we're going to work on. I gotta work on some bosses at some point. That would be a fun stream to build a boss with you all. Oh, we're gonna mark the bleed as complete. Of course, the most important part of the task management is to go. There we go. Let's see, what other fun things can we do here? Let's see here. We got UI work we could do. UI work is kind of like, tedious. Add a weapon with piercing bullets. That's an option. Add another weapon with a new mechanic, which is that bullets can hit more than one enemy. Should take a break and make some guns. I could do that. What are the status effects right now in the game? The status effects are poison and bleed. Those are the only ones. So poison does damage over time, like a standard dot. Bleed just increases the damage that enemies take from each damage source based on the number of stacks of bleed that they have. And that's it. I have other status effects planned, though, like freeze and fire damage and blight. I don't know how to differentiate fire from poison, though. I mean, I guess it could just be a different damage type that you could build around. I don't know. I would love to see a boss building stream. Yeah, I will do that at some point. I have this boss right here, Lowrider Spider, that I want to make. But I have to get good at building bosses first. I'm sure you have a framework for it. Yeah, I mean, the framework is essentially like, here's my enemy, right? We could build another enemy this stream too if you guys have enemy suggestions, but because I'm using a component-based design, I'm focusing its composition over inheritance, right? Basically, there's very little code that's specific to the maggot. Like, this is the maggot's code, and it's basically just state machine code to control how it's supposed to behave in the world. But everything else, like the velocity is a component, the status receiver, the health, the pathfinding, the shadow, the hurt box component, the hitbox component, all of those things are very reusable. And so you'll actually see similarities here between that and the Rat King. Look at this. Health component, status receiver, pathfind component, shadow component, right? And we've got some animator components for humanoid things. So that's kind of like the framework that I use for building enemies. I just basically slap all the components that I need into the scene, and it makes it very flexible. What to do app is that Obsidian MD with the Obsidian Kanban community plugin. Blight sounds fun. Yeah. Let me put the board back up here so everyone can see it. What if there was a plague ability that would affect the other enemies around it for a small time? That's kind of like Blight. Oh, looks like Blight I had Blight for bleed. Oops. Well, and does something else. I kind of inadvertently made bleed do exactly what Blight was supposed to do. Passive that causes enemies to explode on death, like gas and Risk of Rain, would be pretty cool to do. If you have anything similar planned, I do. Let's see. Enemies die while on fire, explode, dealing 50% of their health and damage. So there's your suggestion right there. Yeah, it's basically an inheritance system. Could borrow a thing out of Risk of Rain 2's book, and Blight deals damage over time based on enemies' HP, but doesn't stack. That's a good idea. Yeah. The only problem with that is that... See, the problem with doing percent damage based on HP is bosses, right? Every single game that has a system like that always has to put an exception in for bosses, because if you did 10% of the enemy's health per second on a boss, it would die in 10 seconds, and they don't want that to happen. And I kind of want to avoid doing that. Like, I don't want to make special conditionality when you're facing bosses, because that always seemed lame to me when I'm playing video games like that. Like, oh yeah, I can stun an enemy for 1 second, but when I go to the boss, guess what? It's like 0.1 second. It's like, well, what's the point? Like, you ruined my build, game developers. So I would rather just have the build work. No questions asked, right? No conditionality. So that's the thing you have to be careful with, I think, when you're doing those damage based on health percent. Could you play the game for a second? Of course, yeah. The maggot could be an enemy that comes along with the Fly Queen boss. Ooh, good one. Health steal ability based on the number of enemies in its radius. Health steal, that's a decent idea. Let's see. The problem is I'm just dealing with, like, the player's going to have, like, 5 health, and they go in increments of 1. So, and I already have a health globe system, so I'm not quite sure if that will fit in, but I will think about that. For bosses, you could just add a fixed amount, then percentage that. Yeah, that's true. All right, let's play a little bit of the game. Think about this for a little bit. Maybe I will build another enemy if people have enemy ideas. So you will not start with the bone weapon, but... And I think I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to update the bone weapon visuals. I don't think I want to do that. I'm actually liking it a lot. Actually, one thing that I will do is I want to make these darker. Because it's not contrasty enough when you're in the game. So doing that, I think, is going to be a little bit better. Yeah, let me just run this really quick. Yeah, that's much better. You can see the horns and the mouth a lot better. I did not end up upscaling it. No, I'm just, yeah, I kept the art the same. Because I actually kind of like it being like a submachine gun. And the skull actually doesn't look bad at all. I mean, it looks decently proportional to the character's head. And you can I think you can pretty easily tell what that is, that skull. So, I'm going to keep it. It's kind of like a submachine gun. And look, it's like I got the skull on the end of a shotgun. Oh, this game is so goofy. I love this game. Not to, not to pat my own back, but it's just, it's fun. Wow, this gun hits hard. Create an explosion when the magazine becomes empty. Let's choose that one, and then what are we doing? First bullet of a magazine deals 100% extra damage. Ooh, we could throw the banana on the other one. This gun has 32 rounds of ammunition. Dang it, I shouldn't have done that. All right, let's just take the gold. Maybe some imps and demon enemies. Yeah. Let's let me put a little bit of constraint on my request for suggestions. Something that would fit into like a dungeon environment. I do want to do demon style enemies, but that will come with a demon style level, right? Like a hell level. So I definitely want to do imps and stuff, but I'm thinking like, can we think of an enemy that would fit thematically into this arena? You know? So I've got maggots and rats, which I think are pretty fitting. Yeah. What the character was the bug because of the rats and maggots? What if the character was a bug because of the rats and the maggots? Okay, so yeah, I will do multiple characters, but the arena is going to change. 3 things to add a little more player information. You could hide the mouse cursor and add a sprite to it. Yep, I have a plan to do that. And animate that to show things like reloading and stuff. Yep. You could also add a piece of UI to show your dash cooldown. Yes, I do need to do that, I agree. I actually have that written down. Again, I'm not just saying, yeah, I already thought of this. Like, there's actually something in here. Where is it? Improve the notification that the dash is ready right here. So I have that written down. Add an option to have the camera cover the entire room. See, the problem with scaling out the camera is that this is pixel perfect right now. And so if I scale out the camera, I'll show you. Hold on a second. So if I scale out the camera, this is what happens. See how everything's like really, really pixelated and not clear at all? So I can't just do like a simple zoom out, you know? So unfortunately, that is not an option unless I turn off the pixel scaling and use a different stretch mode. Then I could do it, but I like the pixelated effect. It gives it a like nice little effect here. Spiders are a good idea. Living crystals, emeralds. Yeah, I have like a miner's tunnel arena sort of planned in the back of my mind, so crystals will be featuring in that as well. This is very hard to do, and the mouse is not correct. Summon a phantom gun. Yes, let's get the phantom gun. Love it. Reroll. First bullet of a magazine deals extra damage. Dang. All right. Oh, he's still got his path written. Look at him go. Oh, here's the boss. So this is the Rat King boss. He's basically just a really tough rat enemy, and he chases you, and he leads his shots. So if I were to just walk in a straight line, he would be very likely to hit me. And he runs at you, too, while furiously shooting his gun. So this is actually messed up. I will get soft locked after this boss wave because the boss waves aren't going to be timed. It's just going to be a boss fight. And so however long it takes you to kill the boss is how long it takes you to kill the boss. But now I'm soft locked. I can't go anywhere. You should make a Discord. I unfortunately don't have the time to maintain a Discord. It's something that I would like to do ideally, but I just can't. I don't have the time. So let's think about an enemy. We could try a spider enemy. Let's try it. Let's see how badly my art skills suffer, huh? So we'll create a spider folder. All right, so we're all set up. Let's go ahead and do it. The flying gun, yeah, the flying gun is your friend. I should make that more apparent for sure. Maybe each dungeon room could have 3 main bosses. Yeah, so that's roughly the plan. I'm thinking there will probably be 10 waves per arena, and the 5th and the 10th wave have a boss, and then you go to the next arena. And then depending, maybe there will be 5 arenas total, and then there will be a final boss. So that's how Tiny Rogues is set up, if you guys have seen that game on Steam. It's a really minimal roguelite game where the rooms are just squares. I think I talked about this in my devlog. The rooms are just squares, and then you just fight the enemies in that room, and then you go to the next room, and you do that 10 times each level, and there's 10 levels. So you do 100 rooms. I'm pretty sure it's 100 rooms. And it gets progressively harder until you get to the end boss. And then there's actually an end boss after the end boss. So it's really cool. I love that game. I put in a lot of hours into that game. So let's see. Let's watch me struggle. I think something like this. So he's got a big rumpus, and then let's see if we can do. So the other thing I'm doing is I'm doing procedural animation, and so I want to make legs that are like easy to animate. Should we give the spider 2 legs to make it look really creepy? I don't know if it's, I might just do 2 legs, honestly. And I'll call it a creative decision. Could do 2 legs out front and then potentially move them to the back. So, legs. I would love to do like a procedural animation where I could actually like make these line 2Ds and have them stick to the ground, but that's an awful lot of work for an enemy that's going to be blasted immediately by a player. I'm trying to just get the animations to the point where like they're interesting enough for long enough, or for the short time that the enemy's going to be alive. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense. Spider's dope. I would suggest a centipede, but that's only borderline fit the rest of the enemies. Centipede would be cool. Because you took out the room system, you could make it so that after a certain amount of waves, new obstacles get added. Yeah, so I am going to do that for sure. There will be environmental hazards. Like, I'm thinking there will be some point where there will be like traps in the room, like spikes that you'll have to dodge while you're fighting enemies. So that is a good idea. What about the bats with guns instead of wings? That's a fun idea. Living dungeon furniture. Those are cool. Let me, ideation. Let me create an enemies card. Bats with guns. Living furniture. Someone said imps / demons. Centipede. Centipede would work well as a boss, yeah. Draw them with code or animation player. Yeah, I probably will. Well, I'll end up doing that. All of the enemies, the way that they're animated is they're just cutouts. So if I go to the maggot here. So here's the maggot, and I just animated it in-game. See? And he's animated procedurally with code, but these are all just static sprites that are basically just cutouts together. So that's it. I'm trying to keep the animation super simple, number 1, because I'm not good at animations, and number 2, because it helps me create the content faster. Batman doesn't use guns. True. Wonder if we should make it like a really creepy spider. Like maybe the spider should have a gun. Like a centaur spider. Like a centaur spider. That would be really creepy. I kind of want to do that. Should I do a centaur spider? Before I go any further, I just want to make sure that it's like the proper scale in game before I go too deep on this. Cyber spider, yeah. That's a good size for the spider, right? Yeah, that's about as large as the other enemies. All right, let's see if we can make this happen. This enemy might not be super thematic with like a dungeon theme, but can definitely put this enemy elsewhere if it doesn't work out. Oh boy. Spider with a net, like a... Yeah, that's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. I think I'm going to go with the centaur spider, though. I like all the spider. That doesn't mean that there won't be another spider enemy, but all the suggestions are appreciated, and I think all the suggestions kind of led me to wanting to do a centaur spider, so we're going to see if we can get it done with my limited skills. So I'm just blocking things out right now. So like this will be the head. This is the body where the arms will be. So you can imagine like arms here. Well, actually it'll just be hands, because it'll be the same sort of thing as the enemy. So the hands end up being like some kind of shape like this. Here, I'll show you. So these are the rat hands right here. This little thing right here. And then those just get attached to the gun. So that's kind of what the same deal that will happen. Maybe the feet could be really, really weird too. You know what? I'll figure out the feet later. Let's just get rid of them for now. Now I'm just thinking like, oh, what's a spider without feet? Like a slug? That would be so gross. Honestly, I think this is probably fine, actually. I need some kind of like pattern in here, I think. Oh, goodness. I'm not very good with filling out lots of space that I need to fill out. No, that doesn't look good. All right. I will figure that out later. What are we doing with this body part? Probably don't want that color. Spiders make something like tripwire with poison explosion. That's interesting. I don't think I'm gonna do any like status effects against the player. Looks like a knight's hand. Oh, I see it, yeah. I see it. Oops. You're gonna have to, yeah, as usual, pardon my lack of skills. Me drawing essentially just ends up being me fumbling through it until I get something that looks halfway decent. Trying to figure out what colors to use as well. I guess the purple is kind of cool. What is the complementary color to purple? Is it orange? What happens if I do something like orange on the bottom? That's not going to look good, is it? I do have a cat, yeah. I do have a cat. Yellow, orange, and green. Okay, let's try green. Darker shade of green. Do I need to look at spiders? Is anyone afraid of spiders? Green is kind of interesting. That green is kind of cool, actually. Yellow, orange, and green. That's too much. You should add a little rock golem. Yeah, I have blood golems planned. Oops. What, bud? Come here. He's being annoying, sorry. Oh boy, this is not turning out well. Black Widows. Chat, what color palette is that? It's a, I believe it's called Resurrect 64 from Low Spec. So that's where I found it. I'm trying to think of like where I'm gonna go with this. Elder Scrolls Spider Daedra. Elder Scrolls Spider Daedra. Okay. Is this it? So it's got like a dark body with lighter markings. Okay. Okay. So it's got a dark body with lighter markings. And it was like reddish markings, right? So... Dang. This is difficult. Maybe this body color needs to change. So maybe this needs to actually be inverted, so we'll just make it like that color. Wait. So make it like that, and then this can be some kind of red, maybe? Ooh, maybe like that color. That kind of looks cool. And perhaps this needs to be brighter. Okay. Okay, getting there, getting there. What did YouTube do with their latency? It's like 0. I don't know, I have low latency mode on. So it must be doing something right. Trying to figure out what color this body part should be. That kind of blue, maybe? I guess I can make it the same color. And do something like so if I took this and did like an outline here, perhaps? And then maybe make it darker around to give it some depth. Something like that. That works. Maybe I'll take that a little bit further. Oh, did I do this wrong? Dang. All right. Okay. Maybe I'll just do it like that, perhaps? Okay, I think it's starting to shape up a little bit. I'm starting to see something in here. Is this too much? I mean, that doesn't look terrible. I don't think. I think probably up here's a little bit too thick. Unless I could just, yeah, I probably should just get rid of this red here. That doesn't look too bad, I honestly have to say. If I'm being honest with myself, if I'm actually being really honest, I don't think that looks too terribly bad. But only if I'm being honest, though. Colors are beautiful. For me, thank you. I enjoy, well, so that's kind of a tough question of whether I enjoy tech or art more, because sometimes I really enjoy doing art, especially when I've been programming like for a long time and I just want to have a change of pace. But art is frustrating because it's not something that I'm very good at yet, and so it's a lot of trial and error. I think I would have a lot more fun doing art if I was already good at it and it was just a matter of creating what I wanted to create. But a lot of it's a struggle, and so that kind of takes away the fun a little bit. But I just kind of have to, but I do like it a lot. But the tech side, I would say from that perspective, is more fun for me because I already know what I'm doing for the most part. And so it's just a matter of like building what I'm trying to build. It's like I don't get stuck on technical issues or design issues very often because of my experience. And so building tech stuff ends up being more fun because I'm not encountering hurdles all the time, right? But I enjoy them both differently, you know. Art is just a necessary thing. Yeah, I definitely feel that. Do you like having a smaller audience? I am grateful that I have any audience that I do have. So I am grateful that all of you are here enjoying the stream with me, that you watch my videos. You know, I'm very happy about that. So, but obviously, like, my goal when I'm doing YouTube is I want to get more, you know, followers, more ad revenue, all that kind of stuff, right? But I wouldn't say that that's necessary, right? I don't, you know, if I maintain the level of subscribers I have now, I'd be perfectly happy and I'd keep making videos because it's just fun. What did you miss, Shadow? Well, finished the bleed status effect, and now I'm making a centaur spider. A centaur spider to, you know, raid your nightmares. So I think here... Why am I having such a hard time with this? Okay. So I think in here what I'll do is like maybe just do like an outline over top. Okay, that's looking pretty decent. Do like a little... something like that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly what I'm trying to go for with these random strands here, but we'll do it live. I wonder if I can just... Why does that look bad? Did I do something wrong? This used to be like more circular. Hold on. I have an idea. Okay, I've restored the circle. So essentially, yeah, basically just, I guess I'm back to where I was. That's fine. I think that looks all right. I mean, that's decent. I tried to make a game, got stuck by bad mood, and the problem in real life is that I have, how do you get past bad mood, depression, all that stuff? Like being down in the abyss and see no way out. I don't think I can give you advice there, friend. As far as like getting stuck, you just have to you have to be mindful that when you engage in something new that you're not familiar with, you are going to fail. You are not going to see success at all the first time you try something new. And it may take you 2 years before you wrap your head around it. So I think what I've seen is a lot of people, they try something new and then they get distressed that they're having a tough time with it. But I think you just need to set the expectation up front that you are going to have a tough time with it. Your first efforts are going to suck. And you just have to realize that that's part of the learning process and you need to keep going and realize that give yourself the space to fail. You are going to fail. You want to fail often, fail quickly, learn from your failures and keep failing until eventually you hit success. I mean, that's what learning is, right? Like learning is just failing over and over and over again until you figure out what you're doing. So I think, I don't know if that helps you specifically, but I have seen people get really upset when they can't master something the first moment they try it. And I think that's just because you need to set the expectations properly. But I don't know if that's helpful, so. What is my palette called? It's called Resurrect 64 on low spec. Few followers understand the content creator better than many followers and do not understand the content creator like children. Yeah. What if you get a centaur spider a spear so you could implement the pierce effect? Throws at the player and then calls it back. That's cool. Yeah. Don't make things for other people. If you don't enjoy what you're making, don't make it. That's good advice too. Hello, Dream4 Otaku. My job, I'm a front-end engineer. Well, I'm an everything engineer, but I do front-end nowadays. Hello, Drone in Danger. Welcome back to the stream. We're making a centaur spider. So now the question is, what do we make the body here? So let's lock this. Do we want to do something like... I don't know exactly what to do here. Give it like shoulders. Should we make it an actual like humanoid face, or should we give it like a bunch of eyes? I feel like I've done too many, like, pincher things. That's kind of cool. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. Shrink the head down a little bit. Something like that. I don't know. Oh no, don't click on that link. Girls 18 online, don't click. Sometimes we need someone to tell us something that we already know, but not because we don't know, but because we forget and lack confidence these days. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think just reframe, you know, that's what I've found at least. When I'm learning something new, just reframe it. Go in expecting to fail, go in eager to fail, because those are your learning opportunities, I think. Should the neck be coming all the way down and out of the shell? That shape doesn't, this is not the neck, this is the body. So I'm gonna make that more clear. This is like the torso, so you know a centaur, right? How the back end is the horse, but then the torso up is like a human body with the arms. So this is the head here. I don't know how long ago you left that comment. Maybe it's more apparent now, but this is the head here and this is the body down here. And we're gonna make that look better. These are the hands. I don't think you can see the hands very well. All right, see ya. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thank you all for the compliments. Yeah, I'm glad that I can be the inspiration and motivation that you need. Super happy. I know I get a lot of inspiration from other devlogs as well, so I'm happy to be filling that role for you all as well. Let's see. Am I all caught up on chat? Let's see. Centaur spider. We're making, hello, Trayson. Welcome back to the stream. We're making a centaur spider. New enemy type. It's just going to be a plain enemy type, not a boss. Perhaps there will be a larger spider boss, but this is actually going to be a centaur spider with a gun. And so maybe we'll give the centaur spider like the bone gun, and then have it like shoot. And maybe we can give it some special abilities, you know? Like the rat enemies just kind of run at you. So maybe the centaur spider will be different. All right, help me out with the colors here, everyone. Let's see. What color are we going to make this torso here? I think it needs to be a different color so that it stands out from the body, but I don't want it to be like super, I mean, that kind of blue is nice. We can make it like red. We could even make it look like armor, maybe. There will be a outline around all this too. So actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit, we'll make a black background so you can see the contrast a little bit better. So, well, this head color is throwing me off. I mean, I kind of like... maybe like a green color. Something like that. Dark purple. I think it helps very much to create a community like you did. Helps with motivation. Yeah, YouTube, yeah, it's great. Yeah, if you stick in the game dev sphere, it's like, it's very motivational. Maybe there could be two types of spider centaur, an armored one and a normal one. That's a possibility. Dark purple. Yeah, let's see. I kind of want to do, I mean, dark purple will work, but I kind of want to separate it a little bit more from the body. So I'm thinking maybe like a green color. Like this green is kind of nice. Maybe like 2 tones of green. I don't know if green works. Can we do like a, would orange even look good? Like a red and an orange. That might actually be kind of cool. Nah. Not quite. Although we could give it... Ooh, maybe like a pinkish color for the head. And then we'll change these. Maybe we'll make those like, not red, but... I think this needs to be like even dark. Well, I think that's the color I had. I don't know. A red looks nice, not orange. Yeah, yeah. Where'd I get the color palette from? It's from Low Spec. It's called Resurrect 64. So you go to lowspec.com and then you can find it. Planning on doing daily streams? No, I will do streams a little bit more often, but I can't do daily streams. Is it supposed to have 4 segments? Well, it's a centaur spider. So yes, it does. It has 4 segments in the same way that a centaur has 6 limbs. I don't know, let's just go with these colors, I guess, and see how that looks. What I can try is... So these hands need to, like, get out of my way. Maybe I'll just start animating this in Engine. So that you can all see what that process looks like. Not all the enemies are going to be this complicated because this is taking a long time. So we take the torso. I'm thinking we take like the torso and maybe we give it a black outline just to separate it from the rest of the body. I mean, everything's gonna have a black outline, but I'm saying like right here. Separating it right there so that when the head is on, you can kind of see that there's a separation there. I'm just gonna add outlines to it now because I think I'm pretty okay with the shapes of everything. So I'm just going to give it an outline so I can get a better idea of what this is all gonna look like when it's all together. Oops. I wish I could read chat and draw at the same time. You should add the Stream Avatars plugin, IDK, if it works on YouTube Live, but it might. What does that do? I'm not familiar at all with streaming. Like, I don't watch streams or nor am I a professional at this, so curious to see what that is, though. Does it just give you guys, like, is that the thing where it gives you, like, little avatars where you can run around? I think Miz's is built one of those, didn't he? Nice. Look at that. The head is still not sitting right with me. So glad to have the means to get to contract work done for art. I'm not an artist. Yeah, that is very nice. I've done that before, paid artists, but it does save a lot of time. You can make little avatars at the bottom of the screen who can move around and fight little bosses and stuff. Oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll do that. It sounds entertaining. I'm kind of interested in trying to make one. Make one myself. In Godot. But yeah, I would have to have a YouTube integration, right? Ooh, what about like purple for the chest? Purple for the chest? Yeah. I think somebody already suggested purple, right? You said dark purple. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, dark purple right in there. Yeah. That is a good suggestion. I'm sorry I didn't take it earlier because I think that's hitting the right spot. I want to change like purple for the, yeah. Okay, I'm feeling this a little bit more now. I don't want to add little eyeballs. Although perhaps we could do like highlights. Make him like an anime spider. No, that's not good. Unibrow. There we go. Kind of gives him like a little angry look. I have no clue if that's looking good at all. What was your experience in game development before using Godot? I was using Game Maker Studio 2 before that. And then I switched to Godot and I was like, woo. Good pixel art tip, don't outline the bottom because then it doesn't look like the character is touching the ground. Yeah, I don't do that for... I think I did that for the maggot, actually. Whoops. But you can see, like, the, there's no outline on the feet here. But I think I did do that for the maggot. But I think it works for the maggot because the maggot's kind of round, and so the part that would be touching the ground is, like, not in front, right? Well, thank you for the compliment, Neozoid. I basically just watched a bunch of pixel art tutorials on YouTube and kept practicing, and then I got to where I am today. I wouldn't say that I'm that great, but I'm getting there, you know? It's a long process. And it's taking a long time, but I'm glad that you like it. And I'm also filling in these areas too, and the reason is because when it's animated, the head will be moving around, you know, like this or something. And so those areas need to be shaded appropriately. Give him a mustache. I don't know if I have enough room here to do that, but... it would have to be like a... like that? Mustache. Give him a little orange mustache. No, I'm not gonna do that. Better make head looking like a skull, no eyebrows. Maybe. I kind of want to make the spider look mean. But I don't know how to make the spider look mean if I can't put little eyebrows on him. No, it's a long shot, but what if there was a spider mother or some other thing that does not attack but instead spews out a bunch of tiny spiders? That's an interesting idea. So like an enemy that spawns other enemies while it's alive. Instead of, yeah, that's a cool idea. Maybe not specifically a spider. But that would add a little bit of kind of interesting enemy mechanics, you know? I like it. What if the head is bone white? I don't really have a bone color. Like, I think this is probably the closest thing that you get to bone white. Or this color. Or these colors. If I make it just white, it kind of looks weird. I think this color is okay. Is there a better one in here? Yeah, I'm kind of limited by the palette, so if you see a color that might be better with something else, I can only be using these things, so... It may not be the best absolute color, but I think it's the best color that I have at my disposal. I think that's looking all right. I think it's looking just fine. I think the head looks good. All right, cool, cool, cool. Half spider, half skeleton. Legs being made by skeletons too. Ooh, that's cool. That's very cool. All right, let's do the hands. I think we're almost done. I do need to do the feet somehow. How am I going to do the feet? I guess we'll figure that out. I'm just going to draw one hand because they're both going to be the same. Is that how I did them? No, the thumb is on the top. So... I don't want to make like a big monster mitt. Well, I mean, it is a big monster mitt, but... Big ol' hands. Something like that, just a little bit of... I don't know, that's like the hand right there. It's beautiful, I know, I know. Okay, it's fine. So now the legs. Something about the head just looks off. Well, we'll see how it looks in the game. I don't know what to do about it. I can remove the colors. Maybe I can remove those. Huh. I don't know if that looks any better. Yeah, I don't know how to make the colors. I don't know how to make them any better. I don't want to make them the rest of the body because then everything's going to just be like blended together. I could potentially make it the same as the torso, but then I don't really have many options for making the eyes darker. Maybe the eyebrows could be a somewhat dark gray. See, I don't really have a dark gray. I've got like dark purplish grays, kind of. I mean, I think the contrast is fine, though. I mean, if you look at a centaur, like the body is horse colored, and then the torso is human colored. So I don't think the contrast bothers me that much. I guess, though, if it's supposed to be a spider, I can see how you would think that that's not good contrast. Maybe a purple? I could do like a brown, perhaps? I don't know, does that make it any better? Now I feel like that's kind of too dark. Or the brown, I guess, doesn't really work well. Does purple work? Yeah, I don't want to do a rat again. The purple looks good, like this color scheme right here. I don't know if I like this color here. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Yeah, something about the colors is just not working. Not sure exactly what it is. Maybe if I make this purple. Like that? Is that okay? I'll stop messing with the colors for a sec to see what you guys think. Dope song. I don't know what the song is. It's whatever's playing on Lo-Fi Girl right now. So if you head over to the Lo-Fi Girl live stream, you'll be able to see it. Well, I think there should be a difference between the spider body and the torso. Right, so that's this part right here, right? Or are you talking about something else? So like this is the spider body, right? That's the spider part. And then this is the torso part, and then the head part. I guess we'll just go with this. I mean, maybe I'll make this a different color instead of purple. Or I was gonna do this. Wait a minute. I was gonna try make it gray. Oh, that's not gonna work. I don't think that's gonna work. Although I do like that brown color though. What happens if I do that here? No, too light. Although the brown looks good there instead of the red, I think. These markings kind of leave a lot to be desired. Well, I could be working on this all night, I'm sure. Don't change the body color. Do you like the Do you like the brown here instead of the red? I kind of like the brown here instead of the red. All right, well, we're going to keep this as is. I mean, the colors are not that great, but... once it's in the game, you guys will see what I'm thinking of. Because it's not like this thing is going to be in motion. You're not going to be really seeing it that much. So all that matters is that the proper feeling is sent to the player about what's coming at them. I'm going to play with those colors more later, but we have to do the legs. So let's do the legs. I will probably do some more of that, some more tweaking of this offline. Not offline, but not on stream. Because I do want to implement this thing in before the stream ends. Well, not implement, but like get it animated and stuff. So now the feet. Oh boy, what are the feet gonna look like? Just get a rough shape out. I'm not gonna do all 8 legs because there's not enough room. I think I'm just gonna do 2 legs. Wiggle around. I mean, if I can do legs, I'm gonna try to do legs. Maybe we'll just throw some really dinky legs on there and then call it a day. And they're not going to stay this color either. Well, that's not an ideal spider leg, but... and then, let's see, what color are we going to do? That's a good color, I think. Oops. Yeah, I think that purple... either that or the darker. I think the darker works. 2 on the back, 1 on the front. Could do that. All right, let's, I think we'll leave it like this for now, and then we'll get it into the game. We'll at least get it animated before I end the stream. And, yeah, it'll be cool. All right, so let's do this. File, export, sprite sheet. No, not sprite sheet. This is gonna be a pain to get all configured correctly. Here we go. Boom. All right. Let's save this first. What did I change about the rat? Okay. Oh, I don't need this change. Get rid of the spider. Okay. Yeah, true. True. Yeah, we do have awesome people here. We have the best people. I think, you know, if I were to say, I think we have the best people. All right. Summon whatever mental acuity I have left. What is going on? All right, I'm already failing at doing this. Other node, kinematic body 2D. Spider centaur. We need a visuals node. I'm gonna, because this is my third enemy and it's gonna have a lot of things in similar with the rat, I'm gonna have to do a lot of refactoring probably tomorrow. But that's how it goes sometimes, you know? Okay. I just searched spider instead of sprite. Okay, so this is gonna be the body, then we're gonna do the mid, then we're gonna do the torso. Body, mid, torso, head. What's up, cow eggs? Welcome back to the stream. And so now we have to manually position all of these. So the mid is going to be like the center. So I want to make sure that this is like the thing that's centered. I have to raise it up a little bit, because the legs are going to be what's touching the origin, the ground here. But I have to be sure, yeah, this is going to be a little bit awkward, I think. Yeah, so this offset actually needs to be in the center, and then I need to go to the transform and move the transform up. Somewhere up there. Okay, so now let's figure out what kind of offset I need. I have to figure out how to match these now. Is it like that? I don't think... Oh man, this is difficult. I wish there was an easier way for me to position these things. Like an automated way. But I don't think there is, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. Okay, so I'm just going to put the sort of the pivot offset where I need it to be, and then I will figure out everything else by just using the arrow keys here. So it goes like that. Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. All right, cool. I got it. Thank you, Light. All good, all good, all good. Okay, so that's kind of where we want the pivot offset for this one to be. I believe that one goes like that, right? It's got, what, 4 pixels here and 3 pixels up. Okay. Did I get it? No, it needs to be one more up, right? Yeah. Four pixels there, 3 pixels up. I think that's the proper position for that. Okay. And then the head. Where's the head? And I'm gonna have to redo all of this if I end up changing the art, which I probably will, so. Is that how it goes? See if I can get these perfectly lined up. All right, I think we're good. Now I need to figure out what to do about the legs. That's gonna be difficult. How did you never know about offsets? You just use a position pair to sprite to rotate things around. Oh yeah, the offset is great. Yeah, it basically just determines the point around which the thing rotates. Very, very handy. All right, let's oh, I accidentally exported. I exported too many legs. There was a game I was working on one time, a couple years ago, and there was a quest that I made called Spider Leg Soup, and I liked it a lot. What? And I liked it a lot. Spider leg soup. Eventually, I'm gonna go back and make a. I'm gonna go back and make a quest-based RPG kind of game. That would be really fun. So unfortunately, it looks like I need to move everything else up because the leg is going to be like this. So there was, I think it was you, Light, that suggested this to do 3 in the front and 1 in the back, right? Oops. So potentially do something like this. That kind of looks awkward, but I'll fix up the legs later. All right, I'm gonna do this. Hello, welcome back, ducks. Anything you make would be really fun. Thanks, name taker. Appreciate it. Crazy. So I'm just kind of getting the visuals in place here to see what this will look like. So where's the spider centaur? There it is. Let's see how it looks in game. Dope. Look at that. Maybe it'll be a tankier enemy too. But yeah, you can imagine it like moving around. Yeah, the head is not sitting right with me. You're right. Whoever said that the head was a little bit off, I think. Yeah, there's something wrong about it. Maybe I'd be better off doing like a humanoid head instead of a spider head. I'll work on it. But I think it's looking like it's a good size in game. It's like a little bit larger than the player, so it's a little bit of an imposing enemy. It looks creepy. I dig it. W stream. Indubitably. I think it's the angle. Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, everything else is kind of like a 3/4 angle or whatever that's called. Look at me trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about. This is going to take a lot of work to get right. Not every enemy can be like this. Otherwise, it'll take me many days, many months to make all the enemies. What was I going to do? I don't remember. All right, let's keep working on the spider centaur. The nice thing is I don't need to do multiple animations because the enemy's basically always going to be running unless it has a different attack or something. All right, here's the fun part now. I'm going to try to fit the run cycle into... What happened? I'm going to try to fit the run cycle into 1 second, I think. So we're going to see what that does. So I'm just going to start real basic. So I'm just making this go up and down. Might be too much, but we're going to see how that works. Also, there's not much to say here. I'm just keyframing things, so... Apologies if there's a little bit of dead space, but... Pretty straightforward, just making things go up and down. That one needs to be shifted a little bit. It probably needs to go with that. There we go. I'm gonna shift it a little bit. That seems to be fine. I think the head is weird because it's looking at the camera. Cool, yeah. Make bigger legs coming from the back, from the middle of the torso. I could do that, yeah. Yeah, the legs and the head need work for sure. Yeah, I think I will rotate the head a little bit. Honestly, yeah, that would probably fix it. I'll work on that for sure. Those are good suggestions. And so now let's do the head. This needs to be like one pixel above. So basically what I did is I made it go less intensity all the way up. So the back end is got a lot of intensity, got a lot of torque, so to speak, and then we got the middle, which is a little bit less, and then the torso is just a little bit less, and then the head, which is a little bit less. And we're gonna put this on autoplay. Let's see what it looks like in game. Yeah, I'm glad you like the body. Yeah, I think the body turned out good. Cool, so I think that's a good starting animation. I have no idea how I'm going to animate the legs. The boss feels kind of small. It's not a boss, so we're good. Body looks cool. I think I already read that one. Cool, cool, cool. All right, let's see how we're gonna do the legs now. Should I just do something like really ridiculous, like squish them and see what that looks like? I doubt that's gonna look good, but we're gonna see. Oh, that's not right. That's not gonna look good at all. Sometimes when you're doing like pixel stuff like this, you can get away with doing ridiculous stuff like that. And I might actually be able to get away with it if I rotated it a little bit as well. I might be able to get away with that. The important thing is that people sort of understand what's being conveyed. It doesn't necessarily need to be like perfect. Do you know what I mean? Oh, these keyframes are in the wrong spot. Boom. Oh no, that's okay, that's bad. Bear with me. Oh, yeah. It's a it's supposed to be a spider centaur. But you would be forgiven if you didn't get that because it's not exactly all the way there. There we go. I was just trying to get it to go back and forth and I did it wrong. No! It will not only have 3 legs the whole time. Don't worry. We will be adding more legs. I'm thinking of a pair of legs. 2 legs from the back moving up and down, the other 2 legs in the front doing the same, but asynchronous with the legs from the back. Yeah, I'm going to do something like that. I'm trying to get this one leg just looking all right first, and then I will be sort of just copying it over. So that looks ridiculous in here, but it actually doesn't look that bad when you go into the game. Maybe that's too much of a scale. There, see, it's like a little puppy just galloping along. Oh, I'm kind of dreading making big bosses. Imagine how much art work I'm gonna have to do there. They do have 8, yes, but when you're... I think if I were to add 8, it would be really muddy and unclear. It's sort of the same reason, you know, you see cartoons, they draw people that have 3 fingers total. It's like the same deal. Like, you don't need that much detail to convey what you're trying to convey. It's all about just like making sure the person understands like what they're supposed to be looking at, regardless if it's like technically accurate or anything. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this leg front right. I'm going to scale and position it again. Can I copy these? Oops. Can I copy these keyframes and then duplicate them here? Nope, can't do that. Sad. I'm gonna have to manually place all these keys. I'm definitely not doing this 8 times, so sorry. So this rotation degrees, I believe it's got to go to 30, right? Oh, I didn't mean to do the position. I need to do the rotation degrees. Okay, it's already starting to shape up. Okay, I think it's actually awkward that it's coming back down. So it should go out, then up, then forward. So here, it needs to go forward. Wait a minute. So we got the rotation degrees. Then it needs to go forward. Which it is, but it doesn't need to come down. So it needs to stay at 0.33 here. So it goes like this. Then it comes down. Then it goes up. Now it's staying too far. I think that's the right motion I need, but I need to probably fit 2 of those cycles within a second, so it's going really fast. Seems like a horse, yeah. Wait, is the red part the torso? Yeah. It'll make sense having 6 legs and having 2 arms and the 2 missing legs. Yeah, it'll make sense. It'll make sense when it's all together. Yeah, that looks like a horse for sure. But what I need to do is I need to divide this. So I need to go to 0.1, 0.2. So I just need to make this like faster. And so I need to copy these. Wow, this is going to be a lot of effort. Nope. All right, that's going to take some work to get right. Well, let's get the other leg going correctly first and see what that looks like when I change that one too. So it needs to go, I think it needs to stay, how did I do this? No, that's correct. So it needs to go up. I think this needs to start at 0.33. Needs to go out, then down. Yeah. So that's basically right. They need to go faster though. It definitely looks like a horse. If they go faster though, watch. If I do this, I bet you it would look okay. So if I up the speed. Maybe not. I wonder if I should just put it back to 0.5 scale. Yeah, that looks a little bit more natural. And just leave him with 2 legs. So he's got like human legs and human hands, and then he's just got this giant rumpus on him. That would be kind of creepy, but I'm not going to do that. That looks really creepy. But I need to figure out how to get... Actually, I wonder if I should just keep it. Honestly, maybe I'll just keep the animation scale at 2. Why not? Seems to be all right. Let's animate another leg and just see what that looks like. So we need to get the rotation degrees and the scale. Now, how does this one need to work? So this one probably needs to be the same as the leg front right. So the scale starts at 1, stays at 1, goes to 0.5, stays at 0.5. Okay, and then the rotation degrees, -30 to 0. You know what? At least this is faster than animating it in pixel art. Those legs are a little bit in lockstep, but I can fix that. So that looks like a gallop, but if I take this and I just like offset it a bit, that looks a little bit creepier. Oops. Let's see how that looks. See, that kind of looks more spider-like now. If I add another leg in the back, I put it behind everything. Just to give it an extra. So I'm only going to have like 4 legs, but if I can make it look like it's good. Yeah, you think so? I'm glad, yeah, I'm glad it looks convincing. So we're going to call this one leg back, and we're just going to, let's animate this one as well. And we'll copy the leg front right cycle for it. Oh, I wish there was a way to copy to different tracks. It seems like there's no way to do that. Oh, rip me. So we're going to start with 1 and stay at 1. Then presumably we're going to go to 0.5. 0.5. Okay, rotation degrees. Start at -30. Go to 0. Go to 30. Then go to 0 again. Okay, so that's basically in lockstep with the back. Whoops. So if I just offset it. There we go. Love how this turned out. Thank you, Shadow. Yeah. So there you go. So there's 4 legs on the spider. I think you could forgive people for not realizing that that's only 4. I could add more if you think more is appropriate, if you all think more is appropriate, but I think that basically gets the feeling across, right? And it looks decent despite the fact that those are just static sprites that are being animated. Animation is fire. Good, I'm glad you like it, yeah. I don't know, what do you guys think? Leave it at 4 legs? Do more legs? What's up? Yeah, let's do some legs on the abdomen would be dope. Well, so I think, talking about spiders, all of the spider's legs come from the thorax, the second body piece. The abdomen is just a big ball, big bulbous. Move the third leg back a little. So the third leg here, let's see. I got you. So like that, right? I didn't want it to be like right there, but if that looks better, then I'm good with it. What do you guys think? The other thing I could do is let me try this. And also let me know if I moved the wrong one. I could try flipping it. That won't look good, will it? I don't know, what do you think? Is that one being flipped? Does that look a little bit better? I wish I could zoom in more. Add a leg on the abdomen. But I'm telling you, spiders don't have legs coming out of their abdomens. I mean, they do have 8 legs too. Does look a bit whack, yeah. I mean, if I add a leg here, spiders don't have legs coming out of their abdomens. I mean, it would be kind of cool. It looks more like a horse when you do it that way, though. Like, we're talking about how it looks like a horse. We need to see it in more motion. Yeah, what you're not seeing too is you're not seeing the hands with the gun. So imagine it holding a gun right there too. Like how the rats are holding their gun. Also, we need to come up with a special thing that the spider can do, because I don't want it to be the same as the maybe the spider can shoot like a whole line of bullets or something. Webs, maybe webs, yeah. Maybe make the legs don't move right and left, maybe up and down and slightly rotated when he withdraws leg. Well, that's kind of what they're doing, like, they are rotating. They're going up and down and rotating. But I do have the animation sped up, so if I turn the animation scale down, it's going to be too slow. Yeah, that's too slow. Maybe I'll move the back leg a little bit into a different spot. Oh, on the vertical moving up and down. I see. Spiders do move their legs left and right, though. I don't know. I think I'll leave it as is. I will be changing it later. But I'm not seeing an obviously good way to make it look better. So I'm going to think on that a little bit before I do any more work. But here's what I'm going to do. Move the shadow component over. Actually, okay, so basically I need to copy over a bunch of stuff. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, Yvonne Von. But yeah, I'm trying to avoid doing a lot of work. That's why I'm kind of trying to do janky animations. I do like that suggestion, though. So we're going to add the Gibbinator component. Let's add a health component. Okay, and the Gibbinator is going to be attached to that health component. Oh boy. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We won't do the legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, right? Body, mid, torso, head. Okay. Hit flash component. Okay, what else do we need? So I'm just basically building out everything that I need now for the spider. I need a hurt box component. Okay, we're gonna add some collision shapes here. Let's move it under so I can actually see it. Okay, so there's one collision shape. Let's do another one. Make unique. This one's going to be sort of around the center here. Perfect, and then we'll add another one. Perfect. Okay, so that's our hitbox for our spider. Let's see if that even works. Let's add some health to it. Why is this not working? Oh, because I need to change... No. Oh, I need to assign the health component and the status receiver component. If I'm going to use this component stuff, I probably need to work on making sure that I'm warning myself properly when I'm not configuring it correctly. You shoot bullets that explode in a web pattern into more bullets. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, like a cobweb. Sometimes not professional procrastinator here, yeah. I can see it as a star-like pattern. Star-like pattern, yeah. Make a unique bullet. Well, I'm not going to do a unique bullet because for readability purposes, every enemy bullet is going to be red. There's the spider, though. I just killed it. Let's bump its health up a little bit. Let's get to like 30 health. There you go. There's a spider dying. That's a spider dying. Oh, you were behind 10 minutes? Yeah, you must have paused the stream, huh? Or something happened. So that's the spider as it exists currently. So I'm going to... I'll update the head and I'll also work on the animation some more. But yeah. That's the spider so far. Thanks, Light. Yeah, appreciate it. Cool. All right. Well, I think I'm getting very tired. So that was another 3.5 hour stream. I didn't think I would go that long, but I'm going to call the stream there for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for helping me out with creating this stuff. It's a lot of fun. I'll take your suggestions and feedback into account when I'm finishing up the spider. And yeah, it was really fun. You can watch the stream in 2x speed, yeah. Nice death animation, thank you. You were behind an hour? Oh, wow. Cool, well, I'm glad you all enjoyed, and thank you all for watching. Sign up for my newsletter if you want to stay up to date, firebelly.com. And yeah, I'll be doing more streams like this, so I'll let everyone know on the various social channels when I am streaming. And yeah, everyone have a great night, great morning, great evening, whatever, great afternoon. Yeah, for sure. You're welcome. Thank you all. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.